You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver media podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
You're muted.
I don't know why it started doing that. Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to Season 3 and episode number 128 of the Daily Beaver here on the Crier Media Network. Today, recording day is Friday, May 26th, 2023, and I'm looking outside my window, and as you can tell by my face, beautiful sun coming right through. And let's hope it stays that way for the rest of the day here at the Beaver Lodge. Because, well, it's the weekend. It's coming up. Oh, look at that. We have some weather. There we go. That looks like a beautiful morning there in the nation's capital.
Indeed.
I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronounced he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver, eh? And with me, as always, is my dear friend, Mr. Grizzly. Yeah. Of course, a big thank you goes to our podcast's founding sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. And because, what is going into a weekend without your dose of Grizzly? Mr. Grizzly, good morning. And how's your mental health today?
Good morning, Mr. Beaver. 1 second. I had to clear my throat. I'm much like yesterday, not fully awake yet. I did wake up at my usual hour. I had a very long day in the office yesterday. Worked till about 8 o'clock last night. And when I got home, it was like, I need a beer and watch a little hockey. And I sat down to try and work on some stuff on the show, some editing and some production work. And I couldn't make sense of what I was looking at. Brain was cream cheese at that point. So, I called it a night, watched some hockey, and went to bed.
Yeah. I had a weird evening, too, actually. I had a rehearsal yesterday, and I really did not want to go. About like half an hour before, it's just like, oh, God, can I just take one night off? Night off. I just want to be alone and quiet and maybe go to bed. And I went to rehearsal, and just a combination of lack of sleep and a whole bunch of stuff for some reason. Where your situation was, I had a stress cry last night for some reason.
Wow.
At one point, things just got too
Exhausting.
much. Yep. I was just exhausted. It's just like, there's just too much stimulation and I just can't handle it right now. And so I, not a big ugly one, but eyes watering up, coffee, eyes watering up and stuff. And everybody was really great. No worries about that. But I thought that the rehearsal was going to be awful because I was so in my head. My mind was racing, really racing. And oh my God, the rehearsal was the best thing for me.
Oh yeah.
Yep. It took me about 10 minutes to get in it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like very, very choppy and there was like no emotion. It's just like, friends, country, friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. Yeah. So just started going through the motions. And at one point I started getting into it. Well, you know what? I did the best rehearsal I've done so far.
Oh, nice.
It's like a couple of nights ago when I was asking for lines, I think I asked for lines something like 70 times or something. And I got that down to about 40. Well, we got 2 weeks. So, and I do have the most lines. And a lot of my lines are just like, Gramps, Nan, Gramps, Jesus, Nan. Right? So it's like, okay, so which Nan is this one? Is this the Nan or is this Nan? Or is this and when is it? Is it between 3 replies or after 2? And it's like, ugh. But I actually had the best rehearsal I had. I had really, really long stretches where I didn't ask for lines at all, like sometimes up to 10 minutes.
Okay,
so I'm nailing it. But like sometimes when I'm asking for a line, it's like line, and they give me 2 words, and I say them, and it's like, yeah, I still don't know what this is, line again. So sometimes I'm asking for line 3 times in the same line.
As long as you don't start doing that during the actual performance, you'll be okay.
Well, that's why they bring us off book about 2 or 3 weeks before, right? Because the book is a crutch.
Right.
You turn in, you look down, you turn, you look down, but then you don't have both hands to act, to grab stuff, to pick up stuff like this, and you're always looking down, and then you're coming to give someone a hug, and you got your script here, and and all that kind of stuff. So they tell you like let go of the book, let go of the crutch. But I don't know the lines. Yell line. It's like, but it's embarrassing to yell it. Choose embarrassed. So yeah, I let go of the book a couple of days ago, and oh God, that's always like just. I think the thing about letting go of the book, the fear is that you don't want to be the slowest gazelle. You don't want to be the least favorite of all of your castmates. So you're hoping that someone didn't have time to steady you or something, so you don't look so bad.
What is it often referred to in show business? Live without a net.
Yeah. Yep. Live without a net. And that's the thing, right? And I think in a couple of days, we won't be allowed to call line at all.
Right.
And then it's figure it out. That if you don't know the line, then improvise. Figure out how you're going to improvise that to get to the next part, because that might happen. So you gotta practice it. So yeah, when they tell us off book, it's always stressful, and then they say, okay, like 5 days before the play, now you will not be able to yell line anymore. It's like everybody in the cast goes.
Well, that's when you just gotta write it on your hand.
Exactly, or writing it on strategic places on the set.
If it's a modern thing, you can go. Just give me a second here. I just got a message on my phone, and you have the lines on your phone.
Yeah. Well, we did that actually. There was one play the one we did a few years ago where I had to let my beard grow out. So when I had the COVID shot, it looked like I was homeless and begging for money.
Kind of like this.
Yeah, except it wasn't well kept.
See, all I got to do now is jump in and out of the shower. Don't dry it. Let it curl up on its own. Put a pair of sunglasses on. Sit in my car and rant about something, and I will look just like
them. But it was really funny because I had to look like somebody who had been trapped captive in a box for 500 days, so it couldn't be pretty. Right? So I'm sitting there like this, but on the stage, the box had like mathematical formulas like all over the place, right, on the walls, because that's what the 2 people had to solve. So right where the mathematical formulas were in certain strategic places, we wrote parts of the text of the play on the walls. So you'd go up the wall like you're trying to solve it, and it's like, oh yeah, okay. Because
it's a neat way to cheat.
Well, the thing that I never realized when we did that one, because it was within the Fringe Festival, so it was only a 45 to 50 minute play. So I thought I won't have so many lines, but it was only a 2-hander. So there's only 2 people in the play.
Right.
So we actually had more lines in a 45-minute play than I've sometimes had a lead in an hour and a half.
That would make sense.
I thought this was going to be easy.
No. How many set changes do we have? None. There are no set changes.
Like, yeah, this one yesterday we have to figure out how it is I'm going to do the costume changes because they're so fast, but it happens over several days. It was like, it's like run to the back. Somebody lift my hands up, throw something on me. Somebody tie my shoes. Okay, go. It's going to be like a pit stop at an F1 race. Run behind stage, lift my hands up. People dress me, run out.
Well, you're talking about this. You just reminded me of something when you were going on about, formulas on the wall and this and that. I saw a clip just yesterday. You remember Ma and Pa Kettle?
Mm-hmm.
So there was Ma and Pa Kettle, and there was an accountant who was trying to explain to them that each one of them, would divide up 25% of something. They'd each get 5% for, the five of them. And Ma and Pa Kettle goes, that doesn't work. Pa Kettle starts to do it. And he says it's 14% each. He goes, you can't get 14% between five people on a 25%. No, that doesn't work. So the accountant starts to show him, and he goes, no, here's how you do it. And then Pa Kettle explains it to him in his mathematics, and it weirdly makes sense, even though it doesn't actually work. Like it can't, it's impossible, right? But the way he explains it, you're kind of like, I figured out how people think the earth is flat and the COVID shot has nanobots in it. If you present a convincing enough argument and you're sincere in it and believe it yourself, people will follow.
Indeed. So anyway, all that to say that after about 10 minutes, I got into it, and it was really, really good for me yesterday in particular to be someone else for an hour and a half.
Oh,
2 hours.
I think I understand that better than most, because when you wear the mask, they hide the anxiety and depression for most of your life. Yeah, I think that's why so many actors and comedians are brilliant at their craft, because they've pretending to be somebody else their entire lives, because so many of them have severe anxiety and severe depression.
Mm-hmm.
Just a psychological observation on my part.
And on that front, I have to say that I'm very fortunate because, as we know, I'm hardwired for optimism and all that stuff. But, I'm only human. Well,
this is true.
Or I'm only a beaver, as we would say. But yes, Toronto, Dan, thank you. We should all do a road trip to Kingston to watch Douglas do his thing. Aww.
There you go.
I love you guys. And by the way, yes, I saw happy birthday to Dan's dad. So if you are listening, good sir, thank you.
Bonne fête, mon ami.
Yeah, bonne fête. And thank you for lending us your son.
Friends, Roman countrymen, lend me your ears.
Lend me your sons. Ooh, that's a different kind of play all of a sudden.
For you it is. You just went dark, dude.
Lend me your of age sons. Very of age sons, like 30 and over.
Okay, I got to pull this bracket down, this graphic down, because it was right on your forehead the whole time. It was driving me crazy.
Oh man. Good morning, Kit Linda M. Good morning, Kit Toronto Dan. Kit Jim. Good morning, Kit Jen. Hello, my love. Good morning, Kit Grappling. Good morning. Oh, who else do we have with us today? Tabby G. How lovely to see you today. I hope you're doing great, and I hope that you have a wonderful weekend planned. We do.
Yes, we do.
Yes,
we do. Shall I show them the thing? I can show them.
I think you should show them the thing.
I'll show you.
Show them your thing.
Welcome to the place where everyone knows your name, where everyone's your friend, where good times are had by all. Sit back, relax, pour yourself a beverage and enjoy our company. I know we'll certainly enjoy yours. Welcome to the True North Eager Beaver Pubcast. Once a month, we gather at the Lieutenant's Pump at 361 Elgin Street in downtown Ottawa, Canada's capital city, bringing you joy and happiness all day long.
Indeed, all day long. And listen, you guys are gonna get Kits and Cubs are gonna get a lot of Beaver and Grizzly over the next couple of days, because Monday
is the
Alberta election special, and I don't know if on the weekend we're going to be able to fit in one more pre-show because we're already doing something this weekend. but and then everybody else also has to be available.
Yeah,
But
that's
if
time.
not, then we'll try and cover some of that as the results are coming in. So we're flying by the seat of our pants on this one, Kits. Good morning, Kit James. Lovely to see you, Kit. Kit Sadeka, Kit Christian. Bonjour, mon ami. Bonjour, mon pote. And Kit Ellen. I think we've said hello to everyone today, like a turkey on Thanksgiving, Dan. That's how
So
Kit
you're
James is
basted in
feeling.
butter?
Basted in butter.
That-
Stuffed with bread and rice. All right. Enough with that cheeky jokes for now. Not enough with them forever, though, because we're cheeky fellas. But Mr. Grizzly, I do have more stuff on repertoire and other things, but given we've been doing a lot of that, if you have something to start us off, I'd like to talk about something different for a couple of minutes before we get back into that.
Well, yes, it's around that, but
Okay.
it's from a comedic bent, if you will.
Oh.
And it's from the glorious people at the Beaverton. Let me just put this on the
thank you.
screen.
Yes.
7 facts about Pierre Poilievre that probably aren't true, but we refuse to be briefed on the actual situation.
Oh.
Let's just scroll down here.
That's-
Even though Pierre Poilievre has been leader of the opposition for a while now, there is still so much we don't know about him. And we were outraged to discover these 7 almost certainly not true facts after we refused to be given the real information, as it may prevent us from sensationalizing the situation with a bunch of false propaganda that plays to our base.
Oh, well, that's completely logical.
Completely right. Number 1, he invented the saying, case of the Mondays. Number 2, if he wasn't a politician, his preferred career would be selling predatory reverse mortgage loans to confuse elderly people.
And that's true. You can tell by the videos that he does.
Absolutely. Number 3.
I could just imagine seeing him on, and it's like this. And I got the Canadian Legal Will kit. Am I acting good?
Am I acting?
Get it right now.
If you
I'm
watch
surprised at how
that,
little it cost.
if you watch that commercial, you can see him mouthing the words to the other person's lines. So number 3, out of Pierre Poilievre's top 7 things that we didn't bother to check, he is also compromised by a foreign power. But because none of the, in quotation marks, big guys wanted him, he's been selling our secrets to the Czech Republic. Number 4, he voted against gay marriage, even though his father, a gay man, was about to get married to his partner. Oh shit, that one's real.
Number 4 will shock you.
His favorite television series is Mindhunter, but only the BTK parts. His favorite donut at Tim Hortons is a Boston cream with extra cream.
Oh.
I don't.
I guess there was no opportunity to do it with extra cheese.
I guess. And number 7, he hates the CBC because it canceled his favorite show, Being Erica. I actually really did like that show, though, to be honest.
I know, but that's funny because it has levels.
Yeah, it does. Now, update. We deleted part of number 4 that said Poilievre's father was in the house during the vote because the source on that wasn't definitive, and we take our job as fake news journalists more seriously than Poilievre takes his.
And there's the dig.
And it's a beautiful dig because it's funny when it's true. It's true. I mean, but I needed that humor, just as a little levity remover, if you will, from the last few days of his
levity adder. You mean?
Well, levity makes things serious. That removes the seriousness of it for me. Put some levity.
Okay, I see what you mean. Okay.
Brevity, levity, brevity. Yes. Sorry, brevity was the word I wanted to use.
Yes.
Remove some brevity. Levity, not brevity. Yeah, you were right. I was wrong. I got the word mixed up.
Okay.
Remove some brevity from the situation because of the last few days. It's been just, enough to make me scream at my phone and occasionally want to put my fist through my monitor, which I don't do because that would be bad. But,
especially for your wrist.
Well, yeah. Wouldn't be the first time. Here's the thing. The raging, rage farmer just continues to sow the seeds of hatred across this nation by spewing bullshit and says, well, I'm not going to read those documents because he can stamp secret on it and then I can't talk about it. Works.
No, that's not how it works. And remember, because you know how sometimes how a tweet of yours comes back from the past when somebody sees it like a few months later and to say, hey, I like this and I'm retweeting it. Well, one of mine from like April. I was like, oh my God, we've been asking since early April about whether PP is compromised, like on this particular file, and maybe even earlier. But you saw one of those tweets, and it's this has, well, I mean, this type of thing has been going on for a while. Let's just put it this way. It's not new, but a lot of people just seem to be waking up to it now because a lot of people aren't paying attention. So,
I have one more comment here from GT Lem. I don't know if you follow GT Lem on Twitter, at GT Lem. The reporter, in quotation marks, who claimed Pierre Poilievre has been cleared, in quotation marks, to view classified info because he is a member of the Privy Council. That is false. Yeah. The reason this story is false. NISCOP has never revealed what their screening process is. Exactly. NISCOP screening protest is top secret. So it basically says it's difficult to know the different levels of top secret clearance as that information is classified. So are the screening procedures that NISCOP members go through to receive Canada's most guarded secrets.
Right. Right. Absolutely. All of that is secret. And to, let's see, how do I want to broach this in? To that point, I found out some information today that's kind of interesting with regard to that, because the Prime Minister, as you know, the former Governor General, made a recommendation that all the documents that he had the privilege or had the ability to see, because, again, as the once vice regal, you're going to have that type of security clearance, right?
Well, he'd have cosmic, no doubt, because I mean, the Governor General is the head of state in Canada as the representative of, well, David Johnston was the representative of the Queen, but the current Gigi is representative of the King, because but yeah, that technically the Governor General is the head of state.
Technically outranks the Prime Minister.
That's right.
The Prime Minister has that clearance.
That's right.
Okay, so Kits and Cubs, we currently have a Prime Minister who does have that clearance and can qualify for that clearance, whom people who we suspect may not be able to qualify for that clearance are calling inherently corrupt. Now, for that to be true, then the Prime Minister would not have that type of security clearance. Right? Okay. So the Prime Minister has announced that he has taken moves to, as soon as possible, waive cabinet confidence on intelligence documents that Mr. Johnston saw for the benefit of NSICOP and NSIRA review, because David Johnston recommended, quote, I recommend the Prime Minister invite the two oversight committees on national security, NSICOP and NSIRA, to review my conclusions and provide them with all supporting materials, including an annex which contains the classified information. So the Prime Minister now, for the second time in the same year, is waiving cabinet confidence on very, very important and sensitive documents. While everybody else is trying to say he's trying to cover something up.
Yeah, curious.
That's the same thing they said at the Public Order Emergency Commission, and then once Rouleau dropped his report, we didn't hear a word of that from Conservatives ever again.
Oh, here's another question.
And that process too was corrupt, wasn't it? Because Rouleau was also a friend, wasn't he?
Well, while we're on the POEC inquiry, right? Which politician actually appeared on the stand and was questioned for several hours? Oh, that would be the Prime Minister of Canada. And which ones weren't on the stand at any point during all of this, when many of them, as we all know, should have been, because they were out there supporting the convoy, handing donuts and coffee to the occupiers, having dinner with them. Candice Bergen, Marilyn Gladue, Pierre Poilievre, Andrew Scheer, Michael Cooper. Take your pick on any one of these deplorable fucking assholes, because that's what they are. They do not love this country. They love power and money and will rob you of everything to get it. These are not good people. They don't have your interests in mind. They don't care about you. They care about your money and how to get it. That's it.
Absolutely. So we have a rouleau situation all over again, Mr. Grizzly, if you will, because remember our good friend Acosta did this.
Yes.
Because that was the theme right there. Everybody was a friend, right? David Johnston was Prime Minister Trudeau's friend, and then the Aga Khan was his friend, and then Justice Rouleau was his friend, and Maurice Rothman was his friend, and right? Everybody is friends with the Prime Minister, according to the Conservative Party of Canada. Well, at least he has friends.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta kind of have a friendly personality to be friends, and you guys are kind of rather prickly all the time.
How about a personality at all?
And dour and joyless.
The only conservative in the country right now with a personality, and I can't stand the man, is Doug Ford. He does have a personality.
And Michelle.
Oh, Michelle Rumpelgarn. Yeah,
you
you're
can't
right.
love wine that much and not have personality.
Yeah, no, you are right. You are correct. Yes, those are the two conservatives I can think of in the country that have that. Now, and I would have said maybe Blaine Higgs, but I'm not.
No, not anymore. Not anymore. No. There's more on that Project 713 that we're finding from him. So yeah, our policy 713. So no, he's not. No, he's not a good man. But when I say that about Michelle, because I have a sarcastic tone when I say you can't have. It's hard to not have personality when you love wine that much. I do not mean that in the sense that
she has an issue.
If you appreciate wine,
yes,
to the point where you're pretty much a sommelier,
yes,
you have personality.
I understood that right away, but I think it's important that you make that clarifying
because
statement.
I sometimes make the joke.
Yes, but we don't.
But in this case, I'm legitimately talking. This is something about her that I admire. She's one of the few MPs that actually seems to have a life outside.
Yes, yeah,
which helps keep you balanced and well-rounded.
Well, and you know, oftentimes I completely want to wring her neck, and other times I want to high five her.
All the stuff she's doing on AI is brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, she's a smart woman. She just, I think she's picked some bad battles.
Yep.
And I think to a certain degree she had the conservative blinders on so much that she wasn't looking at the bigger picture in some cases. And I'm not fully giving her the benefit of the doubt on a damn thing. Okay, I need to preface that, but preface it. That's not preface. It's afterwards. But you know what I mean. I need to put that out there. But I do think she's one of the smarter individuals in that party. Number one. Number two, I do think that she could be the leader of the Conservative Party, and she might be the person to swing it back a little bit. Maybe. I mean, I have hope, but I still question because there's a lot of things she said and done that just don't make sense. But then again, she doesn't fan the flames of conspiracy theory because she's written about the World Economic Forum. She's attended it.
Right.
And she's like, it's not this big, bad monstrous conspiracy theory, and they're like, well, only somebody who was in on it could. Oh, Jesus! She wasn't an official attendee. She went to it on her own dime, and wrote about it.
Right.
She's not a member.
She wanted to see with her own eyes what it was about.
Yes, and she wrote a very good article about it. She's a smart woman.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'd love to be able to get her on the show to interview her.
Absolutely.
So these documents are going to be released, and well, it just made me think, like, as you said, right, there are levels of security clearance and there are processes for that we don't know. Well, we've been asking for the better part of for a month or 2 months. What did the two Conservative MPs on NSICOP do with that information? What information were they exposed to? What type of information? What kind of intelligence? What did they do with it? How did they relay it back to the party? What did the party do with it? What could they relay? What could they not relay? What was their overall sense of the information that they got? Is Canada in good hands? Is there something going on? Because these two MPs don't seem to have rang an alarm bell before the CSIS leaks were happening. Well, CSIS, we don't even know if it's CSIS. When the leaks were happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
Had those two MPs seen something, considering how ornery the Conservatives are, if those two MPs on the NSICOP committee had seen something that actually was serious, we would have heard of it from the Conservatives before leaks. Right? Logic number one, because why weren't they complaining before? So this thing makes it very clear that the documents that former Governor General David Johnston saw are documents that NSICOP committee members even did not see, even with their security clearance.
Yeah, that's telling.
Because you have to waive Prime Minister is going to have to waive cabinet confidence on those ones and put them in a special annex that they will be able to see. So on what, again, I ask, are the Conservatives commenting, especially with such certainty?
One more time with gusto, right?
And they literally are talking. They're literally flapping their gums based on zero information at this moment. It's like, it's not a cover-up just because Conservatives say it is or brand it as one. And how would you know there's a cover-up if you've not seen anything that's allegedly being covered up?
Well, that's just it right there.
And you're not seeing it, not because it's covered up, but it's because you don't have the security clearance. And on top of that, once you're invited to get the security clearance, you won't do it.
Yeah, because you can wage farm and grift and raise funds off of it anyway.
So, and there are only two potential reasons for which one would want that. Wouldn't there be? One, to keep lying, or two, because you've got something embarrassing in your past. And Mr. Grizzly, as we were happy yesterday that there was a news source that was finally saying it, now we finally have some MPs saying it. And once again, I will bring your attention to, Kits and Cubs, Whitby MP Ryan Turnbull.
You need to blow it up a little bit more. You need to blow it up more.
You need to blow it up more? Okay.
Yeah, a lot more. There you go. That works. Yeah, perfect.
All right. So this is the article that we were talking about from the Daily Scrum. Pierre Poilievre's reluctance to be vetted to receive NSICOP toxic clearance is a problem. And Ryan Turnbull, why won't Poilievre get security clearance? Either he prefers to remain ignorant of the facts so he can continue to mislead, or he has a red flag in his background which would have him fail to gain clearance, causing him embarrassment, which is exactly what we've been saying for over a month, but now they're finally saying it. Well, Mr. Grizzly, that seems to have hit a nerve.
Yes, I see that.
Because readers felt the need to add context they thought people might want to know. So Pierre Poilievre, leader of His Majesty's Loyal Opposition Canada, has already undergone a series of background checks as a former cabinet minister in Harper's government. He was also sworn into the King's Privy Council of Canada as a member. And, well, in particular, Mr. Grizzly, well, it seems that Brian Lilly was, again, on errand boy duty, because he felt he needed to do this. Fascinating to watch the true and non-liberals go from saying that Pierre Poilievre couldn't pass a security clearance to saying he doesn't have the right one or it's expired after it's pointed out he's a former minister and member of the King's Privy Council. Of course, if you buy this, Brian Lilly is, when we say, we don't treat you like you're stupid, you may not like what we say, but we don't treat you like you're stupid. Brian Lilly thinks that you're so stupid that you don't know or he's counting on you not knowing, if you don't know, that there's more than one level of security clearance, that security clearances aren't permanent.
No, they have to be renewed.
That every time there's someone new that comes into your life, like you get married, as Pierre Poliver has, I'm sure somewhere in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
When he got his first security clearance to be an MP, he had to be on the site, on the presence, and then for that very, very brief time that he was a minister, and then screwed the pooch on democratic reform.
Well, and when if we back that up just a little bit, it said he had clearance under Stephen Harper's cabinet. That was 7.5 years ago. That clearance is no longer valid. You have to be re-cleared. And in that time period, he has since gotten married to a woman whose father, his father-in-law, has a questionable background. I say questionable because there's lots of stories floating around. I'm not going to repeat any of the stories because I don't know if any of them are true, but it's questionable. But because he was a banker in Venezuela and then came to Canada, she was 8 years old, I think, when they immigrated here.
Mhm.
So Anita's 100% Canadian. That's not even up for debate, okay? Her father, though, he has a questionable background. And I say questionable because there's questions out there about it. Number one, he went from being a banker in Venezuela to selling fruits and vegetables in Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sure.
Mhm.
Hard luck immigrant story and turned it around and made something of himself. Excellent. Good for you, sir. But again, there's some questions about his background. Fine. But if Pierre Poilievre wants to have the highest level of security clearance, he has to go through all of that. And that, like some of the questions they will ask you, if you have a sudden financial change in your life, say, for example, you lost a lot of money on, you gambled on a stock and lost it all on, I don't know, Bitcoin. They would question you about that because they look at your finances. They go over it with a fine-tooth comb because if suddenly you owe a lot of money to somebody, you could be, on paper, they look at it as you are now compromisable.
Mm-hmm.
You could sell a secret to get money to pay off the debt. This is how it operates. I don't know. I'm trying to explain this for those who may not understand that. This is how it works.
Mhm.
And when they go for top secret clearance, like your secret clearance is good for 10 years, level 2.
Mm-hmm.
Top secret is every 2 years. And cosmic is every year.
Mm-hmm.
Cosmic is the highest level.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything between that because I saw
There is levels
level
of
3 enhanced
yeah.
top secret and all like this, and then
There are.
So
Yeah.
you have different levels of security clearance that have higher and higher standards and more rigorous standards to qualify. You have to requalify for your security clearance at regular intervals or when somebody new comes into your life. So because Pierre Poliver was able to pass a security clearance allowing him to be on the premises of Parliament 20 years ago, doesn't mean he could pass a cosmic clearance
Nope.
today, just because he was a cabinet minister, and I guess cabinet ministers are permanently members of the Privy Council for the rest of their lives, I would assume.
Yeah, but you still need to go through clearance.
But you still need to go to clearance. But all of these things are completely and totally irrelevant. Irrelevant. That he had one once, that he's a member of the King's, but all irrelevant.
It doesn't mean anything. If
whether or not
circumstances in your life change, they look at it. And they can
Exactly.
pull your clearance for anything. When I filled out my forms for my top secret clearance, they were asking me about stuff from 30 years ago. I had to provide references, and they go, well, we need references from people who've known you for at least this long. I'm like, oh, shit, okay. So I've got that. But the thing is, because I was a military kid and moved around a lot, some of those relationships are with people that I haven't seen in many years.
I had the same thing when I had to get a passport for the first time because I'd been bounced around from foster home to foster home and all that kind of stuff. Somebody who's in these types of positions who's known me for 2 years who can
vouch. Yeah. And I remember when I got my first one over 20 years ago, I was like, do you know a police officer, a lawyer, a judge, a priest? I'm like, what? I go, no.
was a
And then
foster kid. I didn't know any of these people.
And I went down the list and it said doctor. So I immediately called my doctor and I said, I just need you to. He goes, oh, no problem, Paul. We'll take care of you. I was like, you know.
Yeah.
But they've since changed that criteria.
Yes. But I mean, I remember things like, I don't know anybody.
Well, and this is over 20 years ago when I got my first passport. And I, honest to goodness, I was racking my brains. I'm like, I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't know. I
Right.
mean, now I could get my sister, who's an accountant, to sign off. They have certain levels of,
Yes.
but it's all changed. Renewing your passport is kind of like renewing your driver's license these days.
Right. And the other thing with regard to Pierre Poilievre is that he hasn't been a cabinet minister since November 2015.
Mm-hmm. That's,
You think if we were
7.5
going
years.
to, like, I don't know, show you the most top secret documents and intelligence that we have in the nation, that it would be reasonable for someone, for the last time they had cabinet level security clearance was 8 years ago. You might want to do a little check-in again, just to see if anything's changed.
Yeah.
Especially, it's like after, especially, and this is where I'm saying that these people don't play the long game, especially after you've been seen, and there are pictures of you in the press of delivering Tim Hortons to people who wanted to overthrow the nation. Do you think people might be interested in having you go a little extra security check?
Just,
Just when you had the choice to walk with Tom Hennessy, 99-year-old, 100-year-old veteran who was raising money for homeless veterans, or walk with James Topp, and you chose to walk with James Topp, and you had the option. You had the option because they were both walking on similar days, and you both got the invite. Yeah, think CSIS might want to take a little check? You think the CSE might want to maybe? Kind of, sort of, maybe. Right? It's like, dude, you're not helping yourself by the company you keep.
No, and look, there is an old adage, and whether you agree with the statement or not, it does play into it when it comes to the political game. You are the company you keep.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to politics, when it comes to clearance, you are the company you keep.
Mm-hmm. Now, here we have this other one from Andrew $cent here. Sleazy misinformation from the Liberals. Oh, clutch pearls. Turnbull may not know, never having been in cabinet, but all ministers obtain security clearances and are vetted. As a former minister, PeeAir went through all that and was cleared. No more conspiracies. Theories. Call a public inquiry now. Oh, Minnie Vandy. Oh, Blandy. Yankee Doodle Andy. Dimples. Hey, girl. Sleazy misinformation from the Liberals. Okay, let's get one thing very, very, very clear. Conservatives are not in the habit of being online to correct misinformation.
No, they peddle in it. They peddle it constantly.
So, if you have a whole bunch of conservatives working this hard to correct a piece of what they call misinformation, then I think we might be, what's that expression? Find the spot on the body where it hurts when you press, and then stick your finger right in there. And that's what we need to do. We found the spot on the body where it hurts. This is hitting very, very, very close to home. That's why there is a coordinated reaction like this. This is not by accident, because everybody is coordinated, and they are particularly incensed with Mr. Turnbull's tweet. And as we said, Mr. Turnbull, we've talked about him a lot on this, because he has a Twitter game along with Mark Garretson that's pretty strong for an MP.
Agreed.
And, well, you also have, because you can't have one without the other. So we have the first Sun disinformation twin, Ryan Lilly, doing his thing. And of course, where you see a Lily, you see a Lori. Mr. Grizzly, if you would put it up there. We have
Just a
Lori.
second.
Okay, well, I'll read it while you're waiting. We have Lori Goldstein. NSICOP warned Trudeau about foreign interference prior to 2019 election. Oh, so now we believe NSICOP.
That's odd. Oh, wait. Now it suits the narrative.
In 2019, NSICOP was believable, but in 2023, okay.
It's all about suiting the narrative.
Yes. Trudeau ignored all their findings and recommendations. Now Johnston wants NSICOP to review his report, but Trudeau has to give NSICOP permission to see the cabinet documents Johnston saw, which he did, son, Lori. Which he did. Sorry, Lori. NSRA and NSICOP are the agencies David Johnston said should review his findings on foreign interference to see if they agree with them, but they don't have access to cabinet documents Johnston was allowed to see, so Trudeau has to give them permission. It's like a monthly Python skit. No, that's called process. The Governor General made the recommendation. Trudeau said that he would accept the recommendations, whatever they were. And what do you know? He's following the recommendations.
Go figure.
Now, this is a lot of tweeting. 8 hours. 8 hours. 8 hours. 8 hours.
Obsession.
8 hours. 7 hours. 7 hours.
Yeah. You're my obsession.
You're my obsession. Who do you want me to be for you to sleep with me? I love that song.
Wait, Lori? No,
not Lori. No, not Lori. We'll talk about who they're sleeping with. This is gonna get good. But yeah, that's a lot of tweeting.
Oh yeah, like an obsessive.
People normally put out maybe 4 or 5 tweets a day. He had 4 or 5 tweets on this in 1 hour, in the same hour. This is, as we mentioned, Operation Annihilate David Johnston. But here's the thing, my friends, my kids, my lovely darlings. It is not only Operation Destroy David Johnston, but Operation Destroy absolutely anyone ever once associated with the Trudeau Foundation, as our friend Jenny McCarthy, who already wore it better, Byrne.
Well,
look, they're going full Red Scare with this. Jenny Byrne, Trudeau Foundation mentor, in PeeAir quotes, Susan Delacourt, for whom I have lots of love. I have all the time in the world for Susan Delacourt. Gets PMO star for defending the indefensible actions of Justin Trudeau shilling as a journalist. Congrats. And of course, well then, she has this little link here that brings us to this. Susan Delacourt, mentor 2016 alumni, Trudeau Foundation. Well, Mr. Grizzly, Susan Delacourt. I've met Jenny, even had drinks with her. She's not this nasty in person. Thanks for the shout out, Jenny. Oh, that might have been loud for people listening.
Yeah,
that's a chef's kiss.
A little bit.
Nancy Pelosi style. Susan Delacourt just decapitated Jenny Byrne in public, and I'm not sure Jenny is aware she's bleeding yet.
No, I don't think she is. I really don't. I don't think she's aware. She needs a tourniquet.
They are, yeah. Except that if she's been decapitated, where does she need a tourniquet?
No, that's the joke. That's the joke.
Joke. Yes, I know. But so yeah. Susan, if you happen to listen to our show, of course you're always invited. You're welcome. But would it now be an absolute perfect time for an investigative report, or at least scratching the paint on what it is Conservatives did with the information they got at NSCOP? I mean, since we're decapitating.
Yeah. Why not?
I mean, and if there's ever an intrepid journalist in Canada, it would be Susan Delacourt, wouldn't
I
it?
would think, yeah.
Do it, Susan.
Fight.
Do it. It's like, listen, if you want a journalist's attention and you seek to get it, sometimes you get it undivided. Conservatives, are you sure you want this much attention?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Really sure. And, well, PP seems to be having a couple of problems because, well, everybody's like saying, this is a master stroke on his part and he's doing this. But, again, he's used to winning the nanosecond. What happens down the road when he's not getting security clearance? And now it's not only PP against the Prime Minister or Liberals, but it's PP against the Prime Minister and most people in our national security apparatus, either current or former, who don't agree with what he says. And now he's taking all of them on too. What is he going to say? They're all deep state?
Well, I think he's probably leaning towards that. I
mean, that's his only option out.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing that is troubling to me is the way Skippy continues to hammer home. Beijing funded $140,000 to the Trudeau Foundation. Okay, and he's relying on the fact that there are people in this country that hate Justin Trudeau and the Trudeau name so much they will not even look up what the Trudeau Foundation is. It has his name attached to it, so obviously it's corrupt and it's a payoff from Beijing, not China, not the Chinese Communist Party, Beijing, not an individual who came to this country and wanted to say thank you by helping PhD candidates because it is a scholarship program and has nothing to do with the work the Prime Minister does on a Monday to Friday daily basis, let alone the weekends when he has to fly off to another part of the world to meet other world leaders. He's a rage farming shit gibbon who relies upon people's ignorance and not just that, relies upon the fact that people don't have the precious time in their day to do the due diligence and investigate what he's talking about. He relies upon that.
Yeah.
He sows the seeds of hatred and he does it with intent. He's a shit gibbon. Fuck him.
I've got nothing to add because that's exactly it.
Here, this is what happens when PeeAir goes knocking at the door. This is what you see. In 6 words or fewer, write a short story about this photo. An alligator sticking its head through the doggy door. Hi, I'm the local Conservative candidate.
Man, that's funny.
It's from my friend Jane Daly. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Oh man. So yeah, they're going crazy. And the second problem that they have, Mr. Grizzly, happens to be a certain man from La Belle Province who has a certain petulant quality. Because this gentleman has decided that he too does not want to see the documents. And Mr. Grizzly will put his face up many times.
Oh, Yves-François Blanchet.
Yeah. For some reason, Yves-François Blanchet also does not want to get a clearance that would allow him to see the documents. Now, of course, we could all assume that, well, he's a separatist, so what interest does he have in helping Canada? But the Bloc Québécois, that's not that party's reputation.
No.
The Bloc Canada, Bloc Québécois' reputation is that if it's good for Quebec, they will support it. If it's not good for Quebec, they will not. Well, there is nothing about election interference or political influence that is good for Quebec. So you think he'd be right there, right?
Yeah.
But he's not. Now, could it be that we have 2 federal party leaders that probably could not pass an enhanced security clearance, because if I remember correctly, Monsieur Blanchet, in a former life, was the manager for a very, very well-known Quebec rock star who is very well known to be troubled.
Mm-hmm.
And there were those allegations of him actually, I believe, propositioning someone with cocaine in order to sleep with either him or Eric on his, La Pointe on his behalf. I'm not quite exactly sure whether or not, but you'd think that if you were associated for several years in that type of milieu, you might have a couple of things in your past that would not allow you to pass cosmic security clearance.
Yeah, there's that possibility there, because they do dig deep. They do probe deeply
So
into
now
your
we
past.
have yes. So now, ironically, we have how does, if I remember, the morning pour. Oh, look at that face. Look at that face. Oh, Mr. Grizzly, that's a hat. That's like, hello, coffee. I love you so much. You look so beautiful today.
Yeah.
Hey, baby.
That's the face.
That was a hey, baby.
Well,
look.
that's exactly what. That's also the face I make when I pour a whiskey or a Guinness. But because it's early in the morning and I have to work. I'm not somebody. Some people are capable of having, like, and I'm sure you remember the rumors of the 3 martini lunch in the federal government seniors, and that used to take place. I guarantee you it did. I've experienced it by witnessing it firsthand.
Right. In the days of the smoky press room where everybody's drinking and smoking as they're typing. And
it was all real. That all did happen. Right? And I've seen it. You don't see it anymore. There are still some people who can have a glass of wine at lunch on a Friday or something, whatever. I am incapable of doing that. Like, literally, you've seen me on the pub. I have a drink. I have no interest in doing work. Like, literally, 1 pint, I don't want to do a damn bit of work. I want to sit around.
You've disconnected.
I have unplugged and disconnected from that reality of my life. I have a drink at lunchtime. I just want to hang out with my friends, and basically what we do in the pubcast. Have a chat, shoot the shit, have a good time. So yeah, this is coffee, which keeps me going throughout the day.
So we have now another reason Blanchet might be doing this, more political, this one, might be this, Mr. Grizzly, because according to 338, anyway, the Bloc Québécois has been not doing very well in Quebec the past few weeks. Dropped from a big peak and at the expense of the Liberals. So, we got to start hitting. Right? So he's not going to participate. He's not going to help. But we are now in a position where, if I remember how the Conservatives do this and how this thing works, just hold on, let me do the math here. Carry the 1. Mr. Grizzly, apparently we have a Conservative Bloc Québécois emerging coalition.
Oh, that was... hang on a sec. Nope. I did not see that coming.
I did not see that coming.
I have 4 cameras on me, and I didn't see that coming.
I didn't see that coming. So, and if I remember, the way it works is, hold on, let me do that again. Carry the 1, take away 2 times 10%. Does that make Yves-François Blanchet Pierre Poliver's boss, the way that Jagmeet Singh is?
I think it is, yeah.
Trudeau's boss?
Okay, we're dropping...
Trudeau is not his boss?
No, we're dropping the headline right here today. Yves-François Blanchet is in a coalition with Pierre Poilievre, and he is Poilievre's boss.
And he's the real leader of the Conservative Party of Canada.
I just said it. I mean, look, if they can spew bullshit, we can do it once in a while, tongue-in-cheek, and let everybody know we're lying, we're making this up, it's not real.
But no, Mr. Grizzly, he's literally in bed with the separatists now.
Well, he actually is, yeah. Yeah, that is true.
But we thought it was the Alberta separatists, but turns out it doesn't matter what flavor separatist.
No, as long as they're separatists. Well, he did endorse Danielle Smith.
Yes.
So,
I'm guessing he thought that was a clear... the more that he's doing, the more I don't see how he's not going to go full crazy against Bernier in that Manitoba riding.
I remember years ago there was a skit on Air Farce when was it Air Farce or This Hour, one or the other, and it was at the time when the leader of the opposition was Lucien Bouchard.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Lucien. Lucien was that he lost his leg to okay. Yeah, I was mixing because thank you. I was mixing him up for a second with Parizeau for a sec. Anyway, so Lucien Bouchard was the official opposition at the time, and he's being interviewed on This Hour or Air Farce. I can't remember which one it was. And he's sitting there and he's talking and he goes, so you're the leader of the official opposition, but you're separatist. And he goes, ben, tabarnak, look, here's the thing, là. He goes, Prince Charles, separated. Princess Anne, separated. He goes, it don't matter, là. The whole royal family is all separated, so I can just be another separated. And he goes, but you're the official loyal opposition. And all of a sudden, everything shakes. He goes, what was that? Did you just have an earthquake? No. That was René Lévesque rolling over in his grave.
I'm just going to slide this in for a couple of seconds there, Mr. Grizzly, given that you mentioned the royals and separated, because we didn't get a chance to talk about it. But Princess Anne
she
was in the country. Yeah, one of the New Brunswick paying respect to fallen Mounties. And even though she doesn't get a lot of attention, it seems that she's probably one of the most appreciated royals, and her reputation seems to be the hardest working of them.
Yeah, because we don't see her much in the headlines. Huh?
Nope. She just quietly does. I think she might be the one normal one.
Yeah, so she just does her job and goes quietly about her day. I should make mention of the fact that for those of you who might not be aware, I'm going to make mention of this fact. And then there was an article I read that was really well written. It's the 150th anniversary of the founding of the Northwest Mounted Police, aka the RCMP, and there is no official government celebration. They're not talking about it. They're just quietly letting it happen. The RCMP is doing a little bit of thing, but they're kind of keeping it under the radar. It's because their history and what they were founded for was not really something to be proud of. It was not about maintaining and keeping the law. Now, that's what their role is now, but they were originally designed to do something else altogether different, and it is not something that should ever be celebrated. It should be taught in school. It wasn't taught in school. It wasn't for decades. I don't know if it's being taught now, but the history is available for people to learn about. And it ain't pretty. It really isn't. It was about basically capturing all the lands out west and taking them from the Indigenous people and locking them up, throwing them in jail, separating them from their family, like just doing really horrible things.
Yeah. Just a little bit here. It seems that when Princess Anne was here, she was here to hand out Diamond Jubilee medals at our CMP headquarters. And while she was here, she traveled to Moncton in a military helicopter for a wreath-laying ceremony at the RCMP Memorial for the 3 Mounties who were shot and killed on June 4th, 2014.
Okay.
So, one of the daughters of the fallen soldiers, her name is Emma, said, "I'm very honored that Her Royal Highness took the time to come to see us, and it really fills my heart." She actually told me about her niece that is attending school with me in Scotland and how much she was enjoying it, which I was glad to hear, as I also very much enjoyed going to school there. And then Nadine Larche, who is the wife of Mountie Douglas Larche, said it was an honor that she took the time to come to Moncton, come to the monument, visit with all of us, and chat with me and my girls as well. Mary Lou Smith, who is one of her girls, said it was wonderful. I came early this morning to make sure I could find a parking space, and I think it should have been publicized maybe a little more, but I really enjoyed seeing her. Then later in the day, she attended a memorial service for the 8th Canadian Hussars, Princess Louise's, at St. George's Anglican Church in downtown Moncton, because she's been the colonel-in-chief of the regiment for 50 years.
And the Hussars just celebrated their 150th anniversary, I think. Is it 150 or something like that?
I think so. Yeah.
That's why she was visiting with him. It's
Yeah,
an
attending
anniversary.
anniversary festive year. Yeah.
Yeah, 150.
Festivity, but they didn't say if it was 150. Oh, yes, it is. There we go. She visited the Jim Lockyer, the honorary colonel of the 8th Hussars, says she visited the regiment when we had a regular force regiment in Germany a number of times. She visited Base Gagetown in 85, 86. On our 150th anniversary, she visited us here in Moncton in 1998. She's maintained a personal interest in this regiment, people from southern New Brunswick, Sussex, for well over 50 years, and that's quite an accomplishment.
See, I'm
There you
dialed
go.
in. I know what time it is.
Yeah, you're dialed in. You're dialed in, indeed. We have Conservatives in bed with the Bloc. Wink. We have we have PP and Blanchet, or I'm not saying PP now. He's poo-poo now. PP's too good. Pierre
Yes.
Poubelle. Pierre Poupou-Lièvre. So we have Poupou and Pimp. So let's call him what he is, allegedly. Pimp Blanchet. Racist Pimp Blanchet. Both not willing to undergo a security clearance while Mr. Jagmeet Singh will. And, well, you know what?
And we need to, really drive home the fact that there's different levels of security clearance. They have a certain level of clearance just to be on the hill. Period. I know, I've worked there many times. There's different levels of clearance to see different things. There are areas in the building I cannot go unescorted because I don't have that clearance. So I really need to drive home that fact. Yes, he has security clearance. He's not cleared to see NISICOP documents, though. They have to clear him for that, something else altogether different. And it's important that we make that fact known. We're not trying to spread rumors here. Yes, he has security clearance. He doesn't have the required clearance to see the documents in question.
Indeed. Oh, this was interesting. This little cartoon by Michael DeAdder.
Oh, this one here?
Yep.
I had it ready and loaded.
You had it ready and loaded?
Oh, yeah.
Interesting how Skippy wasn't yelling liberal stooge when Harper appointed Johnston. Because I don't know about you, Mr. Grizzly, but I'm pretty sure that probably before having the appointment of Mr. Johnston, that there was probably some type of security clearance and check done there as well.
Maybe.
For Vice Mayor. And I'm guessing it probably wasn't a surprise that the families knew each other. I mean, I'm pretty sure that it was kind of public knowledge.
Yeah.
That they knew each other. So, and that they probably had been on ski trips together and all that kind of stuff. So it's just really, really, really interesting that not all these things that seem to be a problem now, that Mr. Johnston had played a role of some kind, any kind, in the Prime Minister's life at some point. That was known then, and it wasn't a problem because he got the appointment and then got extended. But now
he's
it's
not
a problem.
acceptable. Yeah,
now it's a problem. And they are really, really going into the, oh yeah, they used to be friends. They're putting pictures of them, greeting each other with hugs, and they're showing newspaper clippings like from many, many years ago, saying, like, for example, they attended it. We had this party of the telefilm thing, and walking the red carpet were so and so and so and so, and so and so was so happy to see a longtime family friend. And they'll say, see, they've been friends all the time. Now they're downplaying their relationship. Rah, 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 rah. But so you're citing newspaper articles from the past that say that they had a friendship. So you knew this before you appointed him as Governor General, and it wasn't a problem there. And I believe you appointed him as Governor General when you thought that your government was going to fall on a confidence motion. And I'm guessing you were hoping that he probably wouldn't allow that to happen. And that's why you nominated him.
Well,
And then David Johnston proved that he actually was a statesman.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's when they started not liking him.
Well, because he wasn't on their side, because he's on the side of truth. He's on the side of Canada. David Johnston isn't picking a side. He's doing his job. And it's a real job that he did very well. As every job he's ever held in his life, he's done well, according to every story, report, anecdote, comment I've ever seen, heard, or read.
Which is why he keeps on getting called upon.
You think?
I mean, come on, man. If you're doing your job well, and if every time your nation comes and calls on you, you answer the call, and you do the job well, are you really surprised that you're going to be called upon for something this important? Like, none of this should be striking us up. Everybody's like, they're running around like, oh my God, this is the worst scandal ever. And set your hair on fire and blah, blah, blah. But
yeah.
I mean, this is all very normal. Now, Mr. Grizzly, when I was speaking of Mr. Singh, there's a way to rebut, and then there's a way not to. There's what Mr. Polliver did, and then there's what Mr. Singh did. And this, my friends, is how you do it.
On that, I want to make it really clear. I respect the work of Mr. Johnston, but I disagree strongly with his finding that a public inquiry is not necessary. I disagree. Given how serious the allegations that we've heard, given that it attacks directly people's confidence in our electoral system, we have been calling for a public inquiry, and we remain resolute that a public inquiry is necessary to restore the confidence in our electoral system, to make sure we're showing Canadians that this is something we take seriously, and for people to have an opportunity to see and hear clearly about what's happening and what's being done to tackle foreign interference. This is something that's so serious that it requires a public inquiry. We are going to continue to push for one, and we're going to use every tool at our disposal in the House of Commons to continue to advance a public inquiry. The rigor of a public inquiry, the transparency, and the ability to have questions asked in public and people hear the responses is so important that it is required to deal with the serious allegations of foreign interference. We've seen, though, with the Rouleau Commission, the inquiry, the Public Inquiry into the Emergencies Act, that we can actually do this in a way that respects national security. Because I understand and hear very clearly the importance of us not in any way compromising national security. So I wanted that to be clear. I understand that's a serious concern. We can do that. And the Rouleau Commission showed us that there's a way to ensure national security is not in any way undermined, and we can still have a public inquiry.
That's how you do it. Now, personally, I am of the belief that a public inquiry is not going to be helpful here as well.
Agreed.
Because it's not going to be very public, which then opens the door to say, see, cover up again.
Yeah.
Right. What Mr. Johnston has proposed is the most public thing that we can do at this moment. But if you're going to make a rebuttal with elements that are factual and verifiable and make a logical case, this is how you do it. As Kit Linda said, he's professional and serious and statesmanlike, even though he's wrong. He thinks that it should go to a public inquiry. Okay, fine. And there might be some political advantage for him. Maybe something will come out that will embarrass Trudeau and then allows him to do better in the next election. Possible. But he's not laying it as a trap. It's like, let's have the public inquiry. If there happens to be something there, well, then too bad for you. Which is how it should be. So this guy just needs to add the second element. And this is why the Conservatives are not worthy of being the government and not even the official opposition. You just got to add that little line, Mr. Singh, systematically to everything you do. Make the case that the current opposition, who wants to be the government, hell no, doesn't deserve to be the government. They don't even deserve to be the opposition.
No, they don't. They do not.
Do not. And which leads to a really, really, really funny situation, Mr. Grizzly. I really, really like this because who would have ever thought that this day would come along where we have, again, Andrew $, here, working very hard to keep that report into his spending hidden because, well, Scheer is now reduced to begging Jagmeet Singh for help. Andrew's here. Jagmeet Singh told reporters yesterday that the NDP won't revoke their confidence of Justin Trudeau's government over Beijing's interference. Singh has sold out his principles to please his coalition partner.
Let's stop there for a split second. Please notice the specific verbiage in who interfered. Not China, Beijing. They won't say China because they handcuffed us to FIPA for 31 years. And let's dig a little deeper for a split second here. So Mr. Singh was calling for an inquiry, right? Didn't he call for an inquiry into Russian interference too? And immediately Skippy went, no, just Beijing, just Beijing.
Oh, yes. The Conservatives voted against that motion in the House.
Pretty quickly, they dropped that one so fast it was on the headlines for 30 seconds and gone.
And Jenny Byrne really did not want to testify.
Yeah, they won't look into Russia. Whereas Mr. Singh, who, some days I want to hug him, some days I want to go, dude, what the fuck? Which, I get that with every politician of every stripe. Some I say WTF more than others. Some I want to smack. I don't. Wanting to do it and doing it are two different things. But Mr. Singh is not going to sit idly by and let just Beijing be investigated. He will investigate China, Russia, and any other nation that could have interfered with our electoral process. And we know, as evidenced by former Conservative leader Erin O'Toole, that there was no interference in the election when it came to who was the victor in that last one. He came out and said, no, I lost that. He won that fair and square. So, I was not a fan of Mr. O'Toole's politics or the way he conducted himself. And my father can't stand him because what he did to veterans, which is pretty horrible when you consider that he is a veteran. But he does have a certain amount of integrity. How much I don't know, but he was the guy who was trying to swing the party from the extreme right and bring it closer to the middle. And what did they do? They booted him for it.
Oh, yeah, they did. Now, Mr. Grizzly, since you spoke of Erin O'Toole, well, the subject of him came up when David Johnston was talking to the press. So if you would, Mr. Grizzly.
With respect to the comments of Mr. O'Toole, here are the facts. We, as we were asked to do in our mandate, contacted the leaders of the opposition parties to seek their assistance, both with materials and meetings. On 4 different occasions, we approached the leader of the opposition, Mr. Poilievre. On 4 occasions, we did not get a response to be prepared to meet with us. On one occasion, he sent a short reply that was not responding to the materials we needed. And as we came to the May 23rd deadline for our report, wanting to hear from the Conservative Party, and we did have the documents in which they set out allegations with respect to, I think, 11 different ridings. And we considered that going back to late April, early May. But round about May 23rd was the deadline from our report. We sought a meeting, and Mr. O'Toole responded quickly for a meeting, and that was on this past Wednesday, Sheila. A very helpful, lengthy meeting. Mr. O'Toole is a man for whom I have great respect. I know well. He's a former military man. He's cleared for top secret clearance, so he's no stranger to military intelligence. And he presented with us a review of the matters covered in the media and some modeling elections, and his view that in perhaps a minimum of 4 or a maximum of 9 instances, constituencies' results were affected by that. We took that material on the Wednesday. We did indicate that our report was a part of our report at that time had gone for translation because we were trying to deal with, but it was not final. We considered those materials with care. We responded to them with positions in our report and we set them out. And we found we differ in our conclusion with Mr. O'Toole's conclusion that there was a tilt in those elections in 4 to 9 cases, and Elections Canada has found no interference. So that was our conclusion, which is different than Mr. O'Toole's. What he did also present was his very earnest and well thought out concern for the machinery of government and handling secure intelligence. Provided us with a great deal of advice, and we are looking forward to hearing from Mr. O'Toole in our follow-up hearings because he has a very important contribution to make from his position on how we do a better job of machinery of government. So that's the story of Mr. O'Toole.
I find that to be revealing, and not to mention the fact that let's talk about Mr. O'Toole for a minute here.
Mm-hmm.
No question, he loves this country, and I think he would do everything within his power to protect the integrity of our Westminster system of parliamentary democracy, along with protecting Canadians. And again, I have my issues with the man, but everything David Johnston just said there, everything he said, leads me to believe nothing other than the fact that he still has the interest of this nation at heart.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right. Right. But how interesting that the leader of the opposition won't meet with the special rapporteur 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
But the former leader of the opposition will.
Yeah. Yeah. Telling, right?
That little tidbit of news didn't get much play.
It should. It should get a lot of play.
That's why we do this show, kids. The parts that did happen, but that we don't know about because they get mentioned once. 5 seconds in a press availability and don't get picked up. Why did O'Toole meet with Johnston but not PeeAir? Seems to me that would be a question that a journalist who actually wanted to commit journalism and actually was, what's the word, curious,
Mm-hmm.
might have. Maybe, perhaps, kind of, sort of. I don't know.
Well,
We've lost the art of asking the painfully obvious question.
I'm going to put this quote here from Saucy Sea Witch, Rhiannon. They're all old, been in politics, business forever. The community is quite small, so not surprised they know each other. People don't seem to realize Canada's population is small compared to others. All valid points, but I need to add to that in the city of Ottawa, which Ottawa-Gatineau is 1.48 million people, 124,000 of which work for the federal government. So the largest employer is not the government of Canada in Ottawa to begin with. But those who do work on the Hill and in that circle, they all know one another and have for years. If you've been there for years, they've all met, they've all dined together, they've all had coffee together, they've all worked in committees together. So to find somebody, if they say we should get somebody impartial who wouldn't look, you're not going to find somebody in the city or in the political sphere from a federal standpoint that could say, well, I've never met the prime minister and I don't know him, that you could elevate to that level. It's not possible. It's not possible. Look, I know everybody in town. It's ridiculous how many people I know. You got to remember, I was a DJ for a long time in nightclubs.
Right.
And I get out, I'm older now, so I don't club anymore, but I still go to the pub. I still talk to people. I meet people all the time. And this medium has introduced me to a few new friends. Thank you. And I love each and every one of you that are here in the chat today and those who watch on a regular basis. And I know a lot of people in radio and television as well. So I know a lot of people. I've only met the Prime Minister once. Jesus, he's a good looking man. Like he really is. Like people go, oh, he's good looking. I'm like, he looks better in person than he does on camera. That I'm going to leave it at that. Okay. But it's darn near impossible to have somebody placed in the position of Mr. Rouleau or Mr. Johnston and not be familiar with all the players involved. It's impossible.
Mm-hmm. And as Kit Linda M pointed out, he just said that him and O'Toole were friendly.
Yes. Oh, scandal.
Ooh.
Oh no. Oh no. He knows O'Toole well. Must be something devious going on.
Oh, now you know how things like put show tunes in my head, right? And I got this little whorehouse in Texas. A lot of goodwill and maybe one small thrill, but there's nothing dirty going on.
And here, look, PNC Bio. Here's a great comment. It's not hard to find most of them at various restaurants around the city. I've run into half of them, and I don't really operate in those circles. You're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
Ed Broadbent lives just a couple of blocks away from me. He wanders around, like where I sit on my buddy's porch on Scotch and cigar night and the occasional porch pint on a Saturday or a Sunday afternoon. Ed Broadbent will just wander on by.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who are unfamiliar with that name, he was the leader of the NDP throughout the 70s and 80s and was the member of Parliament for my riding before Paul Dewar was the leader member. And then, of course, Paul Dewar passed away, unfortunately. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. He's been in the game for a very long time. He's long since retired, of course, but this is Ottawa. I've been at a pub and bumped into the commissioner for the High Commission, the ambassador to South Africa. I've worked in the embassy, right? And I've met him. I bump into these folks around town. Just, hey, how's it going? I've met Jugmeet a couple of times while he's riding around on his bicycle. I'm not joking.
Mm-hmm.
It's downtown Ottawa. We bump into one another. It's not uncommon. So, to say that somebody that is in a position of well, I'm not going to use the word power for David Johnston, but somebody who was elevated to a very high position in life, has achieved an incredible amount and is highly educated and a man of impeccable integrity. To find somebody like that in this city to do that job, or even in another part of the country, they all know one another. They all work in the same circles. And something else you need to understand, too. A lot of these folks who may argue with each other in the House of Commons, a lot of them, Poilievre being the exception, are friends with one another.
Mm-hmm.
They hang out. They go for dinner. They know each other's families. They work together. So many of them are friends. They work on committee together. Now, they might not agree on policy, but many of them are very friendly with one another. It's just simple how it goes. It's like you have your workplace friendships. Most of us do anyway. Well, why do you think they'd be any different? They might not. You don't necessarily agree with everything your coworker says or does, but you're probably still pretty friendly with them. Well, this isn't much different. Again, no, Poilievre is different because there's people in his own party that can't stand to be in the same room as him. I mean, you can see sometimes if you look in caucus in the House of Commons, there's people that are sitting there kind of holding their nose as they're trying to applaud him because they're told to do so. You have to show, solidarity and support for the dear leader.
Right. Yeah. Now, something really interesting happened. There was a website that I wanted to lead to show the members of a certain committee, but for some reason the website appears to be down.
Well, I had nothing to do with that, I promise you.
No, I know that. It's just really, really weird. It's the US requested URL is not found on that server, but yet I was on the site just a few days ago.
Yeah, we're not going to kick you out for that, Dan. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So not quite sure what happened to it, but anyway, I'm going to play one last clip from the report. I had other stuff the other day that I was going to play, but times have moved on.
Mm-hmm.
But this one is David Johnston speaking specifically about those oversight committees. Mr. Grizzly, if you would.
I believe in the report you do raised some concerns with the politics and the partisanship that have surrounded this issue. NSICOP is ultimately a political body made up of politicians. Do you have faith that it can put politics aside and get at this issue?
Well, I really hope that we can diminish the partisan activity. I mean, one only has to look south of the border to see how that has paralyzed a system of government. We can't allow that to happen in this country. This is a precious country. U.S. News and World Report does annual surveys of the most admired countries in the world. Canada's number one or in the top 2 or 3 places. That's blessed. That's precious. And, our responsibility is to make this experiment in inclusivity, which is Canada, work effectively. And that's Parliament. That's who we elect to govern us and provide appropriate systems. Can we do better in this particular system? Much better. We have much to learn to others, and we must be conscious that we're dealing with something that is not a passing fad. This is serious stuff, and these hostile actors have the real intention of bring down our democratic institutions. And just look what's happened over the past, 15, 20 years as we've seen the diminution of democracy, the reduction in the number of fully functioning democracies, and the success in persuading countries on the cusp that autocratic authoritarian governments are the way to deal with their problems. Democracy is challenged. That's not saying fundamental power, but challenge. And my heavens, if any country in the world should be making democracy work, it's this country, Canada. And that's what we must get about.
Yes.
None of that made the news.
It should have been the headlines. Should have started. It should have been the lead story right there. He called it right out. That was brilliant. This is the first time I've seen this.
Mm-hmm. And he's got other comments in that later section. If you stayed till the end, describing the difference between influence by China and Russia, or Russia was really in your face and really wanted to sow division and whatnot, whereas China is more like climate change. Slow, progressive, over time. You keep not dealing with it because you think you got time, or it's not real, or you have other people. Well, we need to care more about the economy now than that, or this than that. And before you know it, wildfire season.
This right here on the screen from PNC Bio. How is that not the main story coming out of this?
And that's why we do the show, kids.
Because the largely owned, as I keep saying it, and I'll continue to say it until the cows come home, and I don't see any of them in the field right now, so they're way out there, off in the distance. The largely conservative and extreme right-wing Republican-supporting, Republican-backed, extreme right-wing Christian, Christo-fascist, evangelical-owned Chatham Asset Management that owns 66.6% of Post Media doesn't want to show that. They don't want you to see that. They don't want you to know that. It doesn't suit their narrative. So what'll they do? Well, they'll just continue to spin bullshit after bullshit after bullshit story. And that brings up this little, I'm going to put this thing on the screen here in a second. Let me just save the, whoops, damn it. I made a boo-boo.
Whoops.
Hang on, I got it here. I'm going to do this and show it to you. True. All right, hang on a second. This somebody can see, because I talked about this book the other day.
Yes.
And the book I didn't know about until I just ran across it. And I'm like, ooh, this is important. So this is from the book, The Armageddon Factor, written by Marcy McDonald. And this is sort of the main descriptor, if you will, on Amazon. So this was released in 2011. In her new book, award-winning journalist Marcy McDonald draws back the curtain on the mysterious world of the right-wing Christian nationalist movement in Canada and its many ties to the Conservative government of Stephen Harper. To most Canadians, the politics of the United States, where fundamentalist Christians wield tremendous power and culture wars split the country, seem too foreign to ever happen here. But the Armageddon Factor shows that the Canadian Christian right, infuriated by the legalization of same-sex marriage and the increasing secularization of society, has been steadily and stealthily building organizations, alliances, and contacts that have put them close to the levers of power and put the government of Canada in their debt. determined to outlaw homosexuality and abortion and to restore Canada to what they see as its divinely determined destiny to be a nation ruled by Christian laws and precepts, this group of true believers has moved the country far closer to the American mix of politics and religion than most Canadians would ever believe. MacDonald's book explores how a web of evangelical far-right Christians have built think tanks and foundations that play a prominent role in determining policy for the Conservative government of Canada. She shows how biblical belief has allowed Christians to put dozens of MPs in office and to build a power base across the country, across cultures and even religions. Now, let's dig into that for a couple of seconds, shall we? Michael Cooper, Sam Oosterhoff, Pierre Poilievre, just to name a couple. Oh,
Campaign Life Coalition.
And
pastors.
I was going to go pastors, Danielle Smith, courting pastors. All of this is part of a coordinated effort to
Essentially
destroy our democracy.
And not only courting pastors, but essentially promising them legal immunity.
Yes. And we're not making that up. We've seen the tape. Like, when I say we need to be ever vigilant and you always say democracy is something you do, we're not fucking around, people. We are on the precipice. Alberta, especially so right now. Monday's election in Alberta is the most important one in the history of that province. And the outcome, I'm afraid, I'm worried. I am worried because if Danielle Smith gets elected, if she becomes the majority government in that province, watch out. Full privatization of everything because she's largely a libertarian, but she also, you know how she feels about pastors. Then she wants to create her special zones between Florida and Alberta. Then they want to be sovereignists and separate the province, except they can't do that because it's all treaty land. So they'd all have to move somewhere else, which they conveniently don't tell the people they're trying to get on their sovereigntist bandwagon because, an informed public makes an informed decision, but keep them in the dark and they'll do exactly what you want to. Isn't that right out of Goebbels' playbook from World War II? I'm just, I'm just asking questions.
Well, talking about just asking questions, I discovered something just interesting very happened.
What's that?
On our Twitter feed, Mr. Grizzly. I might have to blow this.
Yeah, you're going to have to blow that up. Oh, yeah. Way up.
Okay.
There we go.
Canadian media. Why has nobody yet asked Alex Ruff, 17, and at Rob Morrison MP what intelligence they've seen, how they relate what they've seen at NSCOP to Pierre Poilievre in the CPC-HQ caucus? Canadians have a right to know what they do with the intelligence they get to see. Alex Ruff.
Interesting.
From whom we've heard nothing since this whole thing started, thought this was triggering enough.
Interesting.
It would require a reply.
He just tweeted that recently, like what, an hour ago?
Yes.
Wow.
You may direct your request to media at NSCOP. Oh, so now we believe NSCOP again? Person permanently bound to secrecy means to a current or former member of National Security Intelligence Committee of Parliamentarians. Okay. Yes, well, we already knew that you were permanently bound to secrecy.
Yes.
So thank you for telling me what I already knew, Captain Obvious, but that wasn't the question. The question is, what do you do with the intelligence you got to see? What did you do with the intelligence you got to see? NSCOP can't tell me that, sir. Only you. And that's what I will write to him. But, kids, as I mentioned, we found this spot on the body where it hurts because there's an all-out coordinated campaign to make you believe that there's only one kind of security clearance, and once you get it for life, and it can never be revoked. And that PeeAir has it. And now members of the NSCOP committee, one of the two conservative members on the NSCOP committee actually felt that he needed to misdirect me into another place. Direct me to some place where I could get information that I wasn't asking for because it's the only information he could give. They're panicking.
Oh, yeah.
They're panicking. We've got them where we want them. they're panicking.
In the crosshairs.
So kits, if, because democracy is something you do, you would like to let's help us flood the zone, I believe is the strategy, with claims that PP and Blanchette both can't qualify or won't qualify, and that there's a CPC-BQ Coalition now, and that Pierre Poliver is the head waiter to Blanchette. Just little things like that. Maybe it's time that they start dancing to the tune that we're calling, and maybe it's time for them to start being busy putting out 1,000 political brush fires that we set, rather than them setting them. Maybe, just maybe, it's time for a taste of their own medicine.
A little bit, yeah.
Maybe. They seem very, very, very troubled by this one. Because you don't get this reaction normally.
No, normally
Panic.
they just ignore us.
They're afraid.
We're onto something.
And I'm liking it because you know what? Excuse my language, biatches, but you work for us. And the boss is asking for performance review. Interesting. And it was really funny that was there, because the reason for which I came on is because you were talking about Alberta. And I saw a very interesting piece of data yesterday that made me happy, because the polling, from what we have seen to date, is not showing that the NDP had been doing well. It seemed to be indicating, even up to about like a few days ago, that it was going to be a UCP win no matter what. You have even Evan Scrimshaw, who's all about data and numbers, all about saying he just doesn't see a path. And he's still a little doubtful, but it seems closer now. But this thing happened yesterday, Mr. Grizzly. There is a poll that came out. I'm not able to read the small print well enough to figure out which company it was. But in Calgary, battleground Calgary, among decided voters, it seems that at the moment it's 49 NDP, 43 UCP.
Interesting.
And advance voting has already started. So if you live in Alberta, vote, and bring a few people with you, especially if they never voted before or haven't voted recently. This is your chance, Alberta. This is your chance to legitimately become at least a two-party state.
Yeah.
Take it.
Yeah,
Take it.
Like I said, they're on the precipice. What happens, I don't know. It's yeah.
Jeez. Oh, man. It's been an eventful past few days.
A little bit.
And because we've been talking about that so much, well, we haven't been talking about other news. So first, the most important news, which is very, very local news to the Beaver Lodge. First of all, Mateo's feeling better.
Oh, that's good.
So, hello, Mateo. I'm glad you're feeling better. Hope you're having a great day. Also,
sorry for swearing.
Yep. And also, I have to issue a gentle correction myself, because it seems that Kit Saucy has gone to the hospital 4 times so far.
Yes.
And we still do not have a new kit. So it seems that maybe Monday will be the day. And if I read the comments correctly while they were going through, it would be exactly 9 months.
Yeah, and if it's a girl, Paula. If it's a boy, Paul. Right? That's the name. That's the name.
I thought it was Douglas and Douglasina.
Douglasina.
I don't know. There is no female Douglas. It's kind of. I actually tried to think of, like, John Joan, Pierre, Pierrette, but there is no, I guess not. I guess you could say Douglas, S-E, but maybe. I'm not sure. I guess there is not one. Interesting. Well, at least there was that one thing when I was a kid.
Mm.
I got teased every other way, but you couldn't feminize my name at least. At Paul Douglas or Douglas Paul. Yes, a composed name. Why not? But go Paul Douglas because you don't want initials DP.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
You don't want those initials.
PD sounds great. Professional development. Personal diary.
Ooh, I like this one.
I was going to go with Lachlan James to be the ultimate role. Lachlan James actually sounds like an adult movie star's name.
Yeah.
Right? Like Rods of Fire starring Lachlan James. I don't know. It's like 3-syllable names. Lachlan James.
Yeah.
Jack Johnson.
Yeah.
Jack Johnson. Or action movie stars. Jack Johnson starring in I'm Gonna Get You.
Lachlan James. One man. One mission to take over the world and save humanity from Pierre Poliev.
Bike lanes.
Bike lanes. He patrols the bike lanes of the city streets of Edmonton with a vengeance.
Oh, I should be nicer to Lachlan. He actually likes me. And I like him too.
Mm-hmm.
Gentle ribbing, my friend. Gentle ribbing. I tease because I love.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Other news that's not Rapporteur news. For a change. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, sure. Is it good news or?
We have a whole grab bag here. While I was doing the show a couple of days ago saying that over 1 million hectares had burned, kits were already correcting, saying, no, it's 2 now. So I don't know where we're at now. But it seems that the rain has been doing what it needs to do and that some of the fires are starting to abate. However, now we have wildfires in Manitoba.
Of course we do.
Of course. In the north, some people were evacuated, but the ones who are healthier, who don't have any breathing conditions like COPD or asthma, have been able to return home, but I've been told to stay vigilant because a wind shift can change fire behavior pretty darn quickly.
Well, you mentioned COPD, and I have to show you this graphic because this is really disturbing.
Okay.
Emergency department wait times at CHEO, the Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario. 31 patients waiting to see a physician. Longest wait time to see a physician, 17 hours and 6 minutes.
Oh, my word.
That is not good.
Jeez. Oh, boy.
Yeah. Not good.
If you happen to be living in the affected areas and you have pets, please watch the air index. I've been hearing interviews on radio and TV, and dog walkers are basically, a lot of them are canceling when the index hits 8. No 10. So just make sure, anything that's breathing that's not great for you is probably also not great for our 4-legged friends and our furry friends. On the 17th, which is well over a week ago, Calgary had been blanketed by wildfire smoke for over 500 hours in 2022, but the average over the last 3 decades is closer to 15 hours per year. 500 hours of wildfire smoke in 2022 over Calgary. I don't know what it's. Yeah, I don't know what it's going to be this year, but it gets worse and worse. Over time, it gets worse. Not every year is worse than the next, but when you put them together, I mean, we gave you the data a few days ago about the number of hectares burned. I mean, Fort McMurray, which was bad, was only 600,000. We're over 2 million. And it's not June.
Speaking of June, there's some trials coming up in Ottawa soon, eh? Tamara Lish, Chris Barber, James Bowder, and Rat King. And they all tried to get their trials venues moved out of Ottawa because they said, well, we don't think we can get a fair trial as a jury of our peers. Or everybody in Ottawa works for the federal government. Okay, I'm going to say it one more time. 1.48 million people in Ottawa. Gatineau, 124,000 work for the federal government. That's like 7% of the population. Here's the other thing. You effed around, now you're about to find out.
Yeah.
You committed crimes. You're going to pay the piper.
You exercised your freedom. Now it's time for the responsibility part.
Yeah, exactly.
There are no freedoms without responsibilities.
Look, here come the consequence. Oh, I just found a great image. I'm going to have to.
Consequence. Save me from the consequence. I love that one. Yes. Well, since we're talking consequences, Mr. Grizzly, this one is, I'm going to go stateside for a little bit.
Oh, yes, I know.
Remember this guy?
Yeah.
Remember this guy? Yeah. January 6th, texting. He's got his feet on Pelosi's desk. 4.5 years in prison. He got. Now, apparently, his lawyers begged to give him only 6 months in prison because, well, he's a 63-year-old retired firefighter for rural Arkansas, and he came to D.C. for the very first time to peacefully protest, and he was just caught up in the moment. Yeah, the judge sent him to 54 months anyway. It's like, I would have, if I were the judge, I would have sentenced him to double just for having the audacity of asking for 6 months.
Yeah.
Oh, really? You think that's what you deserve? Okay, well, here, you know what? I've changed my mind.
Maybe you shouldn't have committed sedition. Maybe don't do a crime, and you won't do any time.
Maybe. The other thing that happened is, well, because a few months ago,
you can't have one without the other.
Beep, beep, poo, poo.
Sorry, you can't have one without the other.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh, it's 2023. Yeah. Ooh, oh, I detect notes of oak, maple, and bullshit.
Yeah, that's.
That was the thing. That was bullshit. So I thought it was, at first I thought it was subtle, but once it rests on your tongue, it really packs a punch. Anyhow, we had the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys and all them people. Well, they've both had trials and they were both found guilty, and the Oath Keepers went first and then the Proud Boys went after. And well, now that the Oath Keepers were at the point of sentencing. And it seems that the two Oath Keepers that were found guilty of seditious conspiracy, which is an old Civil War law in the United States that hasn't been charged very successfully very often, particularly in recent times. But this time, the case was made. So we have Stuart Rhodes, who is the founder of the far-right Oath Keepers, and he's been sentenced to 18 years in federal prison. Prosecutors had asked for 25. He got 18. And in a politically charged speech, and this is from NBC News, in the courtroom just before sentencing, he called himself a political prisoner and said that when he talked about regime change in a phone call with supporters earlier this week, he meant he hopes that former President Donald Trump will win in 2024. He's not going to pardon you. Just so you know. He's not going to pardon you. He's already gotten what he wants out of you. He's not going to pardon you. Unless he can get a couple of extra points or donation dollars from it. then maybe he might consider it.
Maybe.
The judge disagreed that Rhodes had been locked up for politics, saying it was his actions that led to criminal convictions. Quote, "You, sir, present an ongoing threat and peril to this country and to the republic and to the very fabric of this democracy," Judge Amit Mehta said before handing down that sentence. And I'm sure that guy probably really loved being judged by a guy named Amit Mehta.
Yeah, I'm sure that made him feel better about himself.
Sometimes justice comes
Chew on that.
in interesting ways. Rhodes was convicted of seditious conspiracy in November, along with Kelly Meggs, a fellow Oath Keepers members, who got 12 years.
Yeah.
They won't fear us until we come with rifles in hands, Rhodes wrote in a message ahead of the January 6th attack. After the attack, in a recording that was played in court during his trial, he said his only regret was that they, quote, should have brought rifles. Again, 18 seems like too few.
Yeah, I
There's
should
no
tack on
remorse.
a few.
There's no remorse, no repentance. Oh, really? He said, okay, well, that's an aggravating factor. Let's add a couple more.
Well, let's not even get into what he'll learn while he's in prison because of the non-reformatory nature of the U.S. penal system. It's just about using you as a slave to build things. You can look it up. It's real.
Yep. Mehta told Rhodes that he was found guilty of seditious conspiracy, quote, "not because of your beliefs, not because you supported the other guy, not because Joe Biden is president right now, but because of the facts of the case and his actions before. You are not a political prisoner, Mr. Rhodes," the judge said. Meggs, who is sentenced to 12 years in prison, was sentenced to less time because, according to the judge, Meggs did not pose the same continuing threat as Rhodes, and a shorter sentence was more appropriate. The 12-year sentence, however, for Meggs is still the third longest handed down for a January 6th defendant. An emotional Meggs, unlike Rhodes, delivered a statement and apologized to his family for the pain and suffering he'd caused them. Oh, well, you apologize to the pain and suffering you caused your family.
Yeah.
No, I guess there's that much. You can go further. You can go further, Meggs. So yeah, a tiny, tiny, tiny touch of consequence culture. Seditionists going to jail.
Yeah.
Coming soon to Canada.
FAFO.
Coming soon to Canada.
Oh yeah, couldn't be soon enough.
Tell me about it.
I got a comment here I just read online that I think you'll find fascinating because it's true. Prime Minister Trudeau is the first prime minister to let two committees get access to confidential information.
In the same year.
Other PM. Yeah, no other PM has been this transparent. No other PM has done so much to stop foreign interference. Former head of CSIS called PeeAir Poilievre a child who needs to grow up. It's true. He's been more transparent than anybody in history.
They're mad because he's cutting off their avenues.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, I've got my problems with the prime minister. I do. Don't get me wrong. But he's playing against actors who do not have the nation in mind.
Or
they
your best
don't have
for my best interest.
No.
As a citizen.
You know. Well, and here's the thing. You can say, sure, he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, and that's all true. But he also did work as a bouncer, a snowboard instructor, a maths teacher. He taught one semester of drama, so stop labeling him with the drama teacher thing. He's actually worked a real job, even though he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. Unlike PeeAir Poilievre.
Several real jobs.
That's right. Poilievre has basically been, he went from high school to university, dropped out of university to become a member of parliament.
Yeah.
Well, actually, he didn't become a member of parliament right away. He worked for the Reform Party, and then,
Exactly. One thing, I think we have to wrap up soon, Mr. Grizzly, but I found one thing for you, actually. According to the Canadian Association of Physicians for the Environment, because of global warming, it appears that plants are releasing pollen for a longer time this decade than in the previous, leading to a rise in allergies and asthma, as well as many adults suffering seasonal allergies for the first time. So if you happen like Mr. Grizzly, to be suffering a tougher bout of seasonal allergies this year than typically, there's your reason. Thank climate change.
That would make sense. Yeah. I've got one quick video clip here from MPP Wayne Gates.
Okay.
MP Wayne Gates. Just let me just grab the. I think it's this one. Yeah, there it is. I got it. Okay, I'm going to put this on the screen and should be able to see this. I'm going to hit play on this because, and I love his mustache. God, he's got a great mustache.
Hi, I'm here in Fort Erie at the Douglas Memorial Hospital, and I want to talk about Bill 60, a conservative bill that they brought in to privatize our healthcare system. And what I'm going to say to all Ontarians, quite frankly, all Canadians, the one thing that we cherish the most is our publicly funded healthcare system. The Conservative government under Bill 124 created a crisis for the last 2 years in healthcare, attacking our nurses, our doctors, healthcare workers. So we're going to say to the Ford government with a vote today and tomorrow, and the information will be in this post on where you can vote and how you can vote. We're going to say to the Ford government very clearly, we are not going to stand by and allow you to privatize our healthcare system. We're not going to allow you to privatize our healthcare system and attack our seniors, who are going to be affected probably more than any age group. So I'm saying to everybody, you have to vote. Say no to the Ford government, say no to privatization, and say yes to a public funded healthcare system in the province of Ontario. Thank you very much.
I like Mr. Wayne Gates.
And I'm glad you put that out because I have this right on my desk because I was going to talk about it today. Friday, May 26th, which is today, and Saturday, May 27th. You may have seen some lawn signs where you live that says that there's a vote. This is not a Elections Ontario vote.
No.
It's
not an official referendum at all.
Not an official referendum. So, but it is an opportunity to proactively make yourselves heard. So if you're not supporting the privatization of public hospitals or for-profit hospitals, for-profit hospitals and care in Ontario specifically today and tomorrow, please, if you live in Ontario, go to publichospitalvote.ca. That's publichospitalvote.ca to find out where it is that you can express yourself in a citizen forum against this. Because the higher the numbers, right, it sends a message. It's not official.
No, it's not official.
Apparently, they've already got 121,000 votes online and 30,000. So there you go. And you can even vote online. So there you go. So if you live in Ontario, again, publichospitalvote.ca, that's your democracy, something you do today. Go there and put your vote and let's help these people. Again, as we keep on saying, right, a group of dedicated citizens making change. This is how you do it. This is how you do it. This is the first time I've ever seen this in Canada.
Yes. And again, it's not official. It's not Ontario election. It's not Elections Canada. It's not Ontario elections. It's a group of people who are concerned about our public healthcare system, who want voices to be heard.
Right.
So if you're in the province of Ontario, go online, vote. So we can send a message. Hey, yo, Dougie. Hey, yo, let me tell you something. Forget about it. Forget about it, Dougie.
Nobody wants it.
It's not going to happen. Nobody wants it. I talked to my ma. My ma, she don't want it at all. That's not cool, Dougie. You upset my ma. You upset my ma. You can't do that, Dougie. You can't do that, my friend. We might have to have a couple of my friends pay a visit to you and have a little conversation about how much they don't care for what you're doing with this in the Ontario healthcare system.
On behalf
we
of
don't like what you're doing, Forget about it, Dougie.
Amaz sent us. So we mean business.
Well, I mean, we all know who a lot of Doug's developer friends are. So I just was emulating some of that. I'm not saying anything. I was just having some fun on a Friday morning.
We're just playing.
Just playing.
As Eddie Murphy would say. We just play. Well, kids, that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver podcast. Oh, Jen.
Okay, Jen, that's good. Let's go on.
Blue jackets. I like that.
Mickey Blue Eyes, Polly Blue
Jackets. We have Polly Blue Jackets.
Mickey Blue Eyes, Polly Blue Jackets. I like it.
And Dougie Dimples, maybe?
Dougie Dimps. Dougie Dimps. Yo, Dougie Dimps.
Dougie
Say.
Dimps.
Forget about it.
Forget about it. Well, kids, that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver podcast. We need a theme song. We hope you love listening to us because we love.
It's a house track at the beginning.
Yes. But like,
you want lyrics and singing and shit.
I want lyrics and a musical number and production values.
I'll do a Leonard Cohen style sing song. Welcome to the Daily Beaver podcast. I got nothing, man.
I'm singing at the lodge.
We got to create our own little harmony and melody and tune.
Are you guys on CF tonight? Yes, I saw that Kid James asked us that earlier, and we were in the flow, so I did interrupt it. But yes, we are on CF tonight. Absolutely. Casual Fridays around 9 p.m.
Yeah, I'll pop in.
Join us.
I'll pop in at some point, yeah.
Yes, please.
I usually pop in around 10 p.m. My lady friend is going to be meeting me later. We're going Friday, so I go to the pub, right, and have a pint with the boys. My lady friend is going to come and meet me. So
lovely.
I have a girlfriend.
He has a girlfriend, kids. He has a girlfriend.
We've been keeping it quiet,
But you just said it. Yeah, I've been holding.
That's all I said, though. I didn't.
Holding on to the secret.
I know you were bursting at the seams. That's all I'm telling you, though.
I did really good.
Yeah, you did.
I'm terrible at keeping good news secrets. I'm very good at keeping bad news secrets, but I'm terrible at keeping good news secrets. Remember that sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. So please let your peeps know about us. Yes, talk us up, because democracy is something that you do. Vote in the... See, I just had it in my hand and I don't know where I put it down. All right, there we go. Publichospitalvote.ca. Please go there and vote. Also, write your MPs, your MLAs. Let them know that you want better. And also, if you're in Alberta, advanced voting is out and the main day is on the 29th. So please make sure to go cast your vote. If you really like this podcast, you can find us on the Crier Media Network as well as all Beaver Grizzly friendly platforms. Stars and reviews are appreciated. So make them rain down on us. Yes. Soak us in those stars and beautiful reviews. Or, good, bad, or ugly. If they happen to be an ugly review, just be gentle because we're sensitive. All right. We love to hear from you. Reach us on our Facebook at True North Eager Beaver, our Twitter feed at True Eager, or by email at truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. And you can subscribe to us via our pod page, podpage.com/the True North Eager Beaver. Oh my, I just saw Douglas for PM. Oh my. Yee. I'm not sure the country's ready for that. Wow. Douglas for a passionate something that starts with M, maybe, but Prime Minister? I don't know. Why not also subscribe to our True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube channel? That helps us out big time. We're getting close to 260 if we're not there already. So yeah, come on, kids, help us. We can't do this without your kind and generous support. So if you feel that we've done a good show today, or that we've done a particularly good job this week breaking down the Special Rapporteur's report, then please scan the QR code that will momentarily appear by Mr. Grizzly's head. Or if you are listening, go to our coffee page. That's coffee, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver. One word, lowercase letters, and that is where you will find our emergency hot chocolate, Guinness, Caesar, Farm Boy chocolate chip cookie, ice cream, chocolate chip cookie, gluten-free sandwiches, fund, and Toronto, Dan, every day you guys do good. You're so good to us. You are so good to us. Saucy, I will vote in Beaver for PM. We are ready, but are you? Oh my. Okay. Whoa, this is I maybe should not have joked about the Beaver. The Beaver Party of Canada. People are starting to take that seriously. This is how it starts, right? This is how people get rolled. Somebody makes a joke and then all of a sudden you're like King Ralph. Or something. And from the Beaver Lodge, this is your Eager Beaver saying, until next time, dear kids, it can be a tough world out there. So please be kind to and gentle with yourself. Mr. Grizzly, do you have some words of wisdom for us before we go?
I was going to go on an angry rant, but I don't want to do that because it's Friday. Instead, I'm just going to say sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows, and something. That's all I remember.
Oh, Douglas, you're going to be written in. Oh my God, everybody's loving me. I'll be as chief of staff. You're going to be written in on a lot of ballots. Douglas is too pure to be a politician. Oh no, I'm not. I'm not too pure to be a politician.
I can't enter politics. Too many people have seen me naked. And I don't have a problem with that. It's just there is a section of society that just could not stomach that.
I would be hoping
the funny thing is though.
I would be hoping that most of the people would vote for me.
Well, here's the funny thing though. Here's the funny thing. Like Gen Z will not give a damn about any of that. When Gen Z gets to be our age, they're like, I don't care that guy did porn or that guy did that or she did this or they won't give a damn. They won't care.
No,
because they grew up with it. So it's like, careful what you do now. It might show up later in your history. I'm like, but if the entire generation is posting every aspect of their lives online, everything they've done, what is there to be ashamed of or hide from?
You literally.
There's no skeletons if it's all on display for the world to see, right?
You literally have nothing to hide.
Not
well,
like this.
actually, you have something to hide. You just denied it.
Like this, or how about like this?
We must be precise. You do have something to hide.
A little bit of this.
Oh man, I'm so glad all of my scandals were analog. Says Kid Jen. All right, kids. Mr. Grizzly, please roll the credits.
I can do that. Let's do this.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver media podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum. And The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
What are you giggling about?
I just comment go through.
Oh.
And it was talking about your Speedo, and this is, I think it's good saucy as long as it's not a MAGA Speedo. And as soon as I saw MAGA, I thought make Atkinson grow again.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, that's funny though. I'm going to give you that one. That's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I'm so not right.
You caught me off guard. Here's the name of that book we were talking about earlier. Then The Armageddon Factor by Marcy McDonald. You can find it online, and I believe you can find that in your local library. I'm going to air this one more time just to remind everybody that we're doing this tomorrow. Welcome to the place where everyone knows your name, where everyone's your friend, where good times are had by all. Sit back, relax, pour yourself a beverage and enjoy our company. I know we'll certainly enjoy yours. Welcome to the True North Eager Beaver Pubcast. Once a month, we gather at the Lieutenant's Pump at 361 Elgin Street in downtown Ottawa, Canada's capital city, bringing you joy and happiness all day long. So that'll be live tomorrow from 1 p.m. to 4-ish. We may have to cut it a little short, and here's the reason why. It's going to be 27 degrees tomorrow, which is awesome. But here's the reason why we might have to cut it short. It's race weekend in Ottawa.
That's true.
The Ottawa Marathon, and there are thousands of people descending upon the city to run. Part of the route is right past the pub, and the pub gets packed. And like there's the 2.5K, the 5K, the 10K, and I think the marathon is on Sunday. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I believe so.
So you have a lot of races, and a lot of the runners will show up to dine, and so it might be super. I anticipate it'll be super packed. The patio will be full because it's going to be 27 and sunny, but there's still people who want to have a bite to eat and a cool, refreshing beverage. So we might have to cut it short if it gets super packed, and
Yep, we'll deal with that.
We'll be live tomorrow.
Yep, one last little note, something I just heard. David Johnston will actually be appearing before a committee.
Mm-hmm. He had already agreed to that.
At the Procedure and House Affairs Committee on June 6th, he proactively volunteered to do this, making an opposition haymaking ploy unnecessary, because it seems that they were going to make a big thing. Like, we need to have him come and say,
they were demanding that he appear. He had already agreed to do it.
Yep. There you go. So this is not over yet. It's not over yet. And again, this is clearly a man capable of handling himself.
Oh, yeah.
More fun to come. Have a great weekend, kids.
I can't resist.
Oh, go ahead. Go, please.
I can't resist. This is...
He's just like throwing me across the house. I don't know why he got mad. He just started yelling at me, and he started throwing me. Jason Bobert. All I wanted to say is me and my dad were starting to yell at each other. He didn't really get physical with me. It was just like I was overwhelmed. Me and my dad were over.
Hi, I'm the mom.
Hi.
Okay, so there was an argument over dinner. I understand you guys got to come and talk to them. I'm down at our second location I was already here getting things ready for an event. But I don't know. I was talking to him, and he had said that he had called. So just to let you know, I have his dad's up at the house.
Yeah, he had told me he was going to be down at the farmhouse, and I've got him headed that way to help him.
Yeah, he doesn't need help, but they can come here. Yeah.
Party of family values.
Yeah, I understand that the maybe wanting to gloat.
I'm not gloating at that.
No. But they're getting a divorce. The Bowmans that's been announced. Yeah. But I had not been aware that there was the potential that maybe the dad had roughed up the child.
Yeah.
You know what? Again, I can't stand that woman. But if she's leaving him because he roughed up the child, then go girl.
Yeah. Exactly.
And maybe if you get away from him, maybe you'll get away from your love of guns.
Maybe
he's the problem, and it's not you, girl.
Well, she also did cheat on her husband with a Christian musical artist. So there's that too.
Oh, there's that too. See, I don't follow the... Yeah. I'm so not interested in her.
No, I know. It's just stuff comes across my feed and I read it. So anyway.
Wow.
All right.
Okay.
See ya.
See ya, kids.